What's up, you bad motherfuckers? It's episode 31 in the jar with your boy Dupe, your favorite dumbass. As you can see, we got a bit different scenery this week. It's been beautiful. We just got done shooting the episode, but what you can expect this week is a recap on Donald Trump and Elon Musk's Twitter space that just happened a couple of days ago. The Minnesota Vikings lose their top draft pick at quarterback to a season-ending injury. A multitude of things. Hassan Reddick not showing up to camp with the Jets. New England Patriots head coach has a strong stance on joint practice fighting. And RGIII gets fired from ESPN. We'll talk about the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, my Cincinnati Reds, making a push for the baseball postseason, and numerous other things this week on In the Jar. Let's get into it right now. What a blessing, man. We get to do this, man. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Boys and girls, we're back. I didn't know if we were going to make it here or not, but we out here in the western North Carolina mountains doing a podcast. You know, episode 31. There's a lot to talk about personally in sports. Saw a bear today, dude. I was driving back. We found this golf course, man, out in Brevard, North Carolina, Sherwood Forest Golf Club. It's a short course. 2 times a month, they bring llamas out to caddy for the golfers. I wasn't one that got to use those llamas, but it's real chill, man. And we spent the whole day out there today, but on the way back, I saw a bear, and it's like this real rural unpaved road going through. I don't even know where it's going through. I just know it's in the woods, man. But saw a bear. There's a damn pond out here that I've been fishing at. You ever just give a fish a good talking to? You know what I mean? Just kind of say, "What's up, man? Hello, brother." Let me take that hook out your mouth. Anyway, but no, we out here, man. Obviously, we are working with Mother Nature right now. So this episode's going to go as long as the sun stays out. It's about 7:47 Eastern time. And my editor, Luke, shot me a text and said, "Are you shooting today?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll let you know, brother." But we here. Don't know how long the episode's going to be, but I wanted to share this beautiful backdrop with y'all. Y'all hear the bugs trilling, the birds chirping. They were. I don't hear many of them now, but it's real peaceful, man. It's a nice place to come out and sit down, have yourself a smoke or whatever you like to do. Have yourself a drink. I'm having a sweet tea. And, yeah, man. So there's stuff going on in the NFL. We got training camp news. What do we got first? Elon Musk had Donald Trump on an X space that apparently got 1 billion views, and they talked about some stuff, man. Y'all know I'm conservative, and I'm going to listen to that. And they talked about some real shit on that space. The main thing that Elon and Trump talked about that stood out to me was national security. You see all these clips from Camellia rallies, and they ask the folks, "Why are you voting for Camellia?" And they say, "I want to protect abortion." Man, I ain't against abortion, and I don't want to get too controversial, but I mean, look, man, we out here. This is what came to mind. That's the number one thing you worried about, brother? Are we going to be able to even have abortions if our country gets blown to smithereens by some crazy-ass terrorists that don't respect our leader? Because y'all got to think about it, man. A Muslim leader, whether it's from a Muslim country or a terrorist organization, they're going to look at Kamala Harris and they ain't going to respect her ass, bro. They're not. And so these folks talking about abortion's important to me. Yeah, it's an important subject, but that's your number one. You don't care about the markets. You don't care about the economic health. You don't care about our national security. She's going to let all these migrants in our country, bro, illegally and happily do it. You see what's going on in the United Kingdom, don't you? People raping and pillaging and beating folks to shreds and getting out on bail. Meanwhile, they're arresting folks for damn social media. Let's get our fucking priorities straight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I've questioned getting political on this show a couple of times the last couple of weeks, and it's just, I'm out in the woods, man. God's talking through me right now, bruh. Feel like I need to speak the truth, bro. But no, Elon and Trump, they got into some real shit. You know, they talked about the assassination attempt, which has conveniently had a shorter news cycle than Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. That's a bona fide fact. Okay. We've gone from a relative joke in the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris being a relative joke, to all of a sudden she's polling ahead in less than 2 months. It's bullshit, bro. It's propaganda. It's North Korea level propaganda, bro. That damn mic's loud. I just heard myself slur, baby boy. But you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to rant. Maybe this is what some folks want to hear, but you haven't seen a single goddamn interview with Kamala Harris. You haven't seen a single goddamn presser. The only public appearances you've seen from this lady are at her rallies where she regurgitates the same teleprompter script word by word each and every time. What are these sheep thinking? You need to get, Trump said it best, you need to get your mental checked if you genuinely believe this lady is going to help our country. And maybe these folks don't want our country to be helped. Maybe they want us to become a third world country. But they talked about some real shit. They talked about national security. They talked about the assassination attempt. I can't there's a couple other things, but it ain't coming to mind right now. But it was a hell of a deal. And of course, the media just smeared it. They tried to smear it. It's just blatant how much folks are lying these days. Lying, conniving, getting down and dirty. And ever since COVID, man, people smell bullshit. They know when you try and fuck them over. You know what I mean? And I think folks are smart enough to be able to smell. I think they always have been, but I just don't know if they've been as aware as we are now of how much we're being lied to. And we want someone real. I think I speak for a lot of folks when I say we want someone real in there. Real. Somebody that folks will respect. And that's the most important thing to me. How much are foreign leaders going to respect our president? We're the number one world power. We're the number one most powerful country in the world. And I don't think it's going to be flames and disaster either way, unless we get nuked. But think about it, man. It's just it's the order of world power. Do we want China to be number one? Do we want another country to emerge and be number one? I want to stay powerful, but I do understand that our country's had a lot of prosperity since the end of World War II, and hard times create strong men. World War II was a hard time that created a lot of strong men. Strong men create good times, which we've experienced from World War II to today. And then good times create weak men. And I think there's no shortage of that around here. So hopefully we can reverse that. But, that was something that just came to mind serendipitously as we're shooting this show here. We got some training camp juice. Let's see what we got first. Matthew Judon's headed to the Atlanta Falcons for a third-round pick. I don't know. I don't think New England is going to have a good season this year. I hate to break it to all the Boston fans, but I don't think I have any listeners from Boston yet. But the Patriots look like they're in for it. Looks like it's going to be a rough deal for the New England Patriots, and I think you're seeing, and we talked about it last week, I think you're going to see a quarterback battle emerge as we get through camp. Do I think that Joe Milton's going to be the week 1 starter in New England? No. Do I think he should be? Maybe. Drake May is a guy that they pushed all their cards in on, taking him number 3 overall, I believe. And even in college football, I worked in the NFL, I saw that up close, but as a player in college football, you're in a meeting room with scholarship guys, you're in a meeting room with walk-ons, and it was always evident to me that scholarship guys would get more of a chance than walk-ons. Why? Because that's who the program's paying for. Program's going to try to get their ROI out of guys they're paying for. NFL, I'd imagine it's the same thing. They're paying Drake May more. Their public reputation is on the line, taking him number 3 overall, taking him that high. So they're going to give him every chance that they can for him to be the guy, and rightfully so. He does have more of a pedigree in college at North Carolina. We talked about all this last week, so if you want the details, college statistics between Drake May and Joe Milton, go take a look at last week's episode. But I think that Joe Milton is closer in skill and potentially other areas to Drake May than people think. And I totally just got off on a tangent there, but nonetheless, Matt Judon is a perennially elite pass rusher, and he's headed to Atlanta. So he's kind of going from one organization that doesn't really have high expectations to another organization that doesn't really have high expectations. We will see how it goes in Atlanta. We will see how it goes in New England. But the Patriots have a tough test against my Cincinnati Bengals in week 1. But I would imagine that Joe Milton's going to start some games for the Patriots this season. He had a great showing in the preseason a couple days ago. And, Boston fans, they've had a long period of sports success. They still are. Celtics just won the NBA Finals a couple months ago. But with the Patriots, they're going to have some patience as they rebuild. Jerod Mayo coming in his first year as a head coach. Player head coaches have historically had a really good go at it the last couple of years. And I think I'll reorder the slides for my editor, but we'll just go ahead and get on it while we're on the topic. Jerod Mayo's message to players on fights in joint practice. If you are a starter and you fight, you're playing the entire preseason game that week. We got a plane flying over. I can't see him. Maybe it was a truck. These damn vehicles coming down through here, man, they echo like crazy. I'm not used to being in the woods anymore. I was here in this area of Western North Carolina a lot when I was a kid, going to summer camp. We used to vacation here damn near every summer. I forgot how much noise echoes through the woods. I was playing a golf course in Cherokee, North Carolina. That's a historically Indian area. It's where the Cherokee tribe was created, and the Cherokee Indians have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years until American settlers came in, pushed them out, sent them to Oklahoma, and that's what you know as a Trail of Tears. So yesterday I played the Sequoia National Golf Club. There's a short on it here on the channel of hole 15. It's one of the most beautiful, drastic drop-down holes from tee box to fairway that I've ever seen. And when I got done with the round, I told the guy, I said, this is one of the nicest courses I've played anywhere, even in Phoenix. And he said, yeah, it's technically a municipal course. And I said, excuse me, it's a muni? He said, yeah, the tribe owns it. I was like, shit, man, this is nice. So, you know, the natives definitely went through some shit, and you know, they got nice golf courses, they got nice casinos out here, but I hope that's not too controversial. But there were notes on every hole, history, old stories. And I wish I could remember all of them. I took a picture of some, but what I learned from one of these notes on the holes is that after they moved the Indians out of here, North Carolina, the Eastern tribe, there were only 1,000 Cherokee Indians that remained here. And that is the foundation of the Cherokee Nation as we know it here in North Carolina today. So, but anyway, my point, I was playing this damn course, man, and the way my drives, I would hit the drive, the way the noise would echo off of the trees, it gave me goosebumps, bro. Gave me goosebumps. It was one of the coolest things, man. We've had a great week here. It's been relaxing. Heart's full. Mind is clear. But speaking of clear mind, back to what we were talking about, Jerod Mayo's message to players. This is the head coach of New England Patriots, Jerod Mayo. He's a former Patriot. Like I said, a lot of former player coaches have had success here in the league. His message to players on fighting and joint practice is if you're a starter and you fight, you're playing the entire preseason game. If you're a backup and you fight, you aren't playing the preseason game at all. That's a real creative punishment from Jerod Mayo for fighting in training camp, is to say, hey, I know if you're a starter and you're proven, you don't want to play in these damn preseason games, so guess what? If you fight, you're going to play. And then I would argue if you're a guy trying to earn your spot and make it, if you fight and you can't play in a preseason game at all, that might be the difference between your career being a good one and your career not even getting started, right? We're talking about bubble guys, fringe guys that are trying to make a roster. If you lose your head for a second, if you blow your top for a second in a joint practice during a valued rep, I'd imagine you're not getting to play that whole preseason game. And that's one of 4 opportunities. Let's say you don't get cut before game 3 or 4. That's one of 4 opportunities you miss. That could be the difference between making the team and getting cut. So I would argue that implication is much worse than being a starter, being a proven guy, and having to play the whole preseason game, unless a starter blows out his knee in the damn preseason game and his legacy's ruined because he misses a whole season. So I thought that was interesting. Jerod Mayo is a guy that was kind of goofy in his first couple press conferences. He's bringing up race a lot and stuff, and you know, I get it. You know, you gotta have a chip on your shoulder, especially if you're a minority in the position of a head coach. But you know, his press conferences were kind of goofy, not even close to as goofy as that damn new UCLA head coach going up there and just being lost for words. I might throw that clip in there, see if y'all know what I'm talking about. But actually, let's pull that up. Big Ten Media Day.
Coach Foster, welcome to the Big Ten. We'll begin with your opening statement.
How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting two great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten. We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited. I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA.
That's a moment he knew.
It's us and USC. We
Come on, bro. Yeah, he knew.
I'm just basically excited, really.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
Any questions?
Sometimes you have those moments where you just black out. You just lose it. And ain't even no alcohol, you just black out. And I've been there, man. You get up in front of some people and you're like, shit. And that's when you kind of got to be like, do what he did when he laughed. It's just like, I don't know, man. Sometimes that happens on here, but on here I can just cut it like I just did. Tell my editor, Luke, hey, cut that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, next deal, and I'm going to add all these as we go, but I saw a clip from Arkansas Razorbacks training camp, and apparently they got a quarterback by the name of Malachi Singleton, who is a former baseball player. The guy's a 29-year-old freshman, and he was a key piece from Milwaukee Brewers in the Christian Yelich trade. Christian Yelich is one of the best players in baseball. I was just watching my Cincinnati Reds play the Brewers, and that's another thing we're going to get into, so we'll segue to that right after this. But damn baseball player, 29-year-old freshman playing quarterback at Arkansas, and the head coach over at Arkansas said that he is comfortable with Malachi Singleton. And so here's a little clip of him from practice here. Slinging that thing. Originally, I thought the baseball player was that damn tight end that caught the ball. I was like, damn, that boy is a beast, dude. But no, it ain't. It's a quarterback. And he was a key piece in the Christian Yelich trade. Christian Yelich is one of the best players in baseball. And so I was watching my Reds play the Brewers. They got beat 2 games out of 3. And me and my dad watched those games, and we were kind of like, shit, man. The Reds, they haven't been completely flatlined, but they also haven't been completely out of contention for the majority of the season. They're struggling to stay around 500, but they are. And they just swept the Brewers, and they believe they're a playoff team. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals a couple days ago, 9-2, swept them. And now they're tied with St. Louis Cardinals for second in the National League Central. And they were only 4 games back of the Atlanta Braves for the 3rd wild card spot when the game ended. Reds second baseman Jonathan India said, "We are a playoff team." Jonathan India snapped an 0-for-23 streak with a 3-run homer in the team's 4-run 3rd inning a couple days ago. And then he added another homer, an 11th of the season, to lead off the 3-run 5th. They've had some tough stretches this year, but it's a part of baseball. We need to find ways to win, and we are now. I think it's the perfect time to get hot. And I couldn't agree with you more, brother. Barry Larkin was on the Reds broadcast in the St. Louis Cardinals series telling the guys in the booth and all the fans listening that, hey, this Reds team has got too many pieces to be around 500. This Reds team has got too many guys to be mediocre. And Barry Larkin, who's a Reds legend, said that it took a mentor of his to come to him and say, look, man, this mediocre stuff, it's bullshit. I know you can give more. Barry Larkin took that and ran with it. He's one of the greatest Reds players of all time. So the Reds were alone in last place in the NL Central 5 days ago as of the day of this shooting, falling to 56-61 after a 1-0 loss in Milwaukee. A win in the series finale allowed the team to hop over the Pittsburgh Pirates for fourth place. Wins in the first 2 games of the series against the Cardinals allowed the Reds to leapfrog the Cubs for third in the division. Wednesday's victory over a free-falling Cardinals team pulled the 2 teams even at 60-61. So basically, the Reds are hopeful. I'm hopeful as a Reds fan. I'm used to continual pain as a Reds fan. But this team is not out of it. And this team is just the Reds team to have that type of mentality, that dog-ass mentality to say, all right, we've been down, we've been beaten, but we still got life, and we're still going to fight, and we're still going to make the postseason. And you saw a similar type of team like the Arizona Diamondbacks last season when they were kind of middle of the pack this point in the season, and then they got hot, make it all the way to the World Series. So the Cincinnati Reds are not dead. They are far from dead. They have been close to dead, and they have not died. And so the Reds are a team that are in it, and they're fighting, and David Bell is hopeful that they just have to keep going. It's very simple. It's not the soundbite that fans want to hear, but it's the fact of the matter. The Reds have just got to keep going. And so speaking of perpetual pain, okay, speaking of perpetual pain, the Minnesota Vikings have struggled with injuries in camp. They lost J.J. McCarthy, their highest draft pick, to knee surgery. Okay? And in the last 5 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings had a rookie cornerback pass away, a starting wide receiver get a DUI, a starting corner tear their ACL on the first day of practice, other starting cornerback gets hurt the second day, J.J. McCarthy tears his meniscus and is out for the season, and then their receiver, Jordan Addison, was carted off the field with an apparent leg injury. So I know a Vikings fan or two, and they are in perpetual pain. Not just with all the injuries that have happened. It's out of everybody's control. It's a part of football, and it's totally by chance that they've been ravaged by injuries. But even in the last couple of years, the Vikings, I believe, have the closest point differential in their losses cumulatively of any organization in the NFL. They've lost so many close games, and I can think of a couple of them off the top of my head where they were in it at the end, and they just didn't pull through. 1-point losses, 2-point losses, 3-point losses, 4-point losses. The Minnesota Vikings have the lowest point differential in all of their losses over the last couple of years, and I can say that with confidence. And now they're ravaged by injuries. They're probably not going to be as competitive in the NFC North due to these injuries, which was, to me, going to be a really fun division. And it still will be with the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions all having really promising groups. But the Vikings seem to be on the outside looking in here. And they lost their starting quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. So it's going to be Sam Darnold's team unless they make a move. I saw a rumor about the Vikings inquiring with the Saints about Derek Carr. I don't know how I would feel about that even if the Vikings were to do that. I saw a Vikings fan tweet, "Please, Lord, I will pray to you every day for the rest of my life if this trade is something that will happen." I don't know if I'd be willing to make that big of a wager for old Derek Carr. He's been in the league. He's an accomplished pro. But, man, it's tough sailing for the Vikings right now. And prayers up to him. But it's looking, with the injuries, to be a rough season unless this is a historically gritty, resilient group. Okay, on to the next deal. Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick has requested a trade from the New York Jets. This was all in the span of one day. So at 2:38 p.m. Eastern time, the Jets edge rusher Haason Reddick requests a trade per Jonathan Jones. At 3:07 p.m. Eastern, the Jets announced they will not trade Reddick, and he will continue to be fined until he reports. This was interesting to me because the Jets are a team that have really promising prospects going into the season. Haason Reddick is a generational pass rusher. He's one of the most talented pass rushers in the whole game. And he wants $25 to $28 million from the Jets. And it sounds like the Jets aren't willing to pay him that. I'm normally one to side with players, but it's like, man, I don't know if there was an expectation going in to the signing that maybe the Jets painted a picture to him that, hey, we're going to pay you out pretty good once you get here with an extension. I would imagine an NFL organization wouldn't do business with like that, because that's bad business if you overpromise and you don't deliver. Now, a player as prolific as him, I hope I said that correctly, it may have been implied, it may have been expected, but man, like, if the Jets didn't promise anything like that and Haason Reddick just signed with the Jets, and then he's pulling this crap of, hey, y'all need to give me a $25 to $28 million extension or a new contract, it's like, dude, that's bullshit, man. Show up to camp. It's your first year with the organization. Get acquainted with your teammates. He ain't in there. He ain't in the building. And there's a clip from Robert Saleh. I'm not even going to show it on the show because he didn't give any good answers. He doesn't have any good answers. That's why he didn't give any good answers. But the head coach of the Jets, Robert Saleh, said that he's talking to Haason Reddick. That the Jets will accept him with open arms when he does decide to report, and that's all he can speak on until then. He said Joe Douglas, the general manager, is handling the rest of it, and that's that. It was a minute-long clip. I tried to upload it to the Google Drive. I got slow internet here at the cabin out here in the mountains, and I was watching the clip back, and I was just like, dude, this ain't even worth putting on the show. So it's a weird situation, and there was a really cool clip I saw a couple of days ago of what's the guy's name, man? I forget the guy's name. It's the guy that I can't remember his name. It's the guy that ran the 40 at the combine in a damn suit. Rich Eisen. I don't know why I blanked on his name, but it was Rich Eisen's show. 13-year-old calls into Rich Eisen's show, and this 13-year-old was very well read on the topic, and he calls in. He says, Rich, I just don't know if the Jets need to pay this guy $25 to $28 million. He hasn't even, this, that, and the other. And Rich goes, how old are you? And the kid goes, 13. He's like, yeah, and he answered his question, and then the kid just assumed, I guess, that he was wasting his time and was like, thank you, Rich. I appreciate you letting me on your show. And Rich was like, hold on. I'm not done with you. How long have you been a Jets fan? And the kid answers, and he talked about how he had gone to a game a couple years back, and it was a game where Henry Ruggs, who is now incarcerated, was still playing for the Raiders. Tough loss for the Jets, it sounded like. And the kid's dad looked at the kid and said, you got a choice here. This is a long, long, hard road being a Jets fan. I don't know if you're game on it. And the kid says, I'll sleep on it. Kid sleeps on it, goes back to his dad, and he says, I'm ready for the ride. Let's do it. Let's go Jets. And it was a pretty cool story. I'm probably not doing it justice, but, that's kind of the deal. All right, what do we got next? We're running low on daylight, so I got to probably wrap soon. But I thought this was interesting. There's a cornerback for the Falcons by the name of Kevin King. He left the NFL in 2021 to focus on himself. Falcons let him back on the team. I don't know if he was playing for the Falcons when he took a break or if he signed with the Falcons recently, but he got an interception in his first game back in over 30 months. And my question is, how good is this guy that he was able to take 3 years off from football and an NFL organization is still willing to give him a chance? That's crazy to me. This guy's film must be insane. He must be physically gifted. He must be in crazy good shape. Kevin King has not played in the NFL in 3 years, and the Falcons are willing to give him a chance. Guy grabs a pick in his first preseason game. How about you? How about you, brother? So I don't have much more to say on it than that, but I mean, shit, man. This guy makes the roster, makes some plays in the regular season, gets him a bag, dude, and you didn't play for 3 years. Hats off to you, bro. I mean, for real. So that was cool. What else do we got? This stood out to me. We're kind of on a political kick here on the show today, but this stood out to me. So this guy played basketball at Iowa State for the Cyclones back in like 2012. The reason I remember him is because the Kentucky Wildcats in 2012 ended up winning the national championship. I was about 14 years old, and we went to every single NCAA tournament game about when Kentucky was playing. In Kentucky, I believe it was the round of 32, played the Iowa State Cyclones, and this guy, Royce White, was Iowa State's best player, and he got a lot of press because not only was he their best player, but he refused to fly on airplanes. Guy was kind of, out there, right? He was a dog on the basketball court. It looks like he is he won the Minnesota Republican Party's Senate primary this past Tuesday. I hadn't even thought of this guy for years, and all of a sudden he's in politics playing some ball. So hats off to Royce White. Hope he knows how to that was going to sound like an asshole comment. I hope he is more accustomed to flying on planes now. We'll just say that because, well, maybe he won't have to if he's just working in Minnesota. He may not have to jump on a plane. Royce White, you might be good, brother. But he was a dog back in the day on the basketball court. I remember there were concerns about him going to the NBA because he would refuse to fly on a plane. Teams didn't know if they were going to be able to rely on him to travel to go play because he wouldn't fly. So I thought that was interesting. Little politics there. He won Royce White wins the Minnesota Republican primary for Senate. All right, now we got a clip of the week.
Run! I'm fucking me running!
This is crazy. Somebody hit the head, man. Now that's wildin'. That is wildin'. Put some Crocs on, dog. They probably wouldn't let him. And then you got to clean all these Legos out of the pool afterwards, man. I don't know. That wouldn't be that bad. Y'all think? I don't know. It looks like it's in California, huh? I mean, they're lashing him. It's just a towel, though. Maybe they got it wet. That would hurt. Now that is sadistic. Whoever came up with this is a deranged bastard. No way. The water had to wash off the lemon spray after, right? I don't know. But I just thought of hazing when I watched that clip. I was like, it was kind of my sadistic brain came in and was like, damn, treadmill over top of a pool, blindfold them, throw some Legos on it, make them stay up on it. I thought it was a good hazing tactic. But nowadays in fraternities, you can't haze anymore. I'm a big proponent of hazing. Okay, if it's done the right way. I'm not a proponent if it's done the wrong way and it's coming from a place of ego as opposed to a place of, hey, we got a group of 18-year-old kids coming on campus thinking they're the big dogs. Okay, we gotta flatten them out a little bit, break that ego down, let you know that you're part of something bigger than yourself. My pledgeship days in college were some of the most formative days that I still use in my life today because it was done right. It was traditional. It was from a place of you got to respect this organization that you want to be a part of, and you got to be the right type of man to be able to proceed within this organization. It wasn't no egotistical shit. It wasn't no power hungry shit. It was hazing done the right way. You know what I mean? So that clip kind of reminded me of that. Some of it's fun. Some of it is constructive. And everybody says it's the best time you never want to have again. So I think there's one more article I wanted to touch, and then we're going to get out of here. I think RG3, yep, ESPN fired RG3, and they fired Sam Ponder. They're trying to cut costs. Listen, man, RG3 is kind of a pill. Okay, he was a great football player. There's no arguing that when he was healthy. His rookie season, his sophomore season in the NFL were some of the best seasons I've ever seen by a young player. But, I mean, goddamn, you look at RG3's Twitter, the guy's kind of a pill, dude. He's kind of an engagement farmer, dude. And so if I was an ESPN executive, do I agree with the things Disney does, the ownership group of ESPN? No, I think they're all fucks. But I probably would have fired RG3 too. Because the guy's just kind of a pill, man. You can tell what he's saying. It's not really real. And then Sam Ponder was, I think she's the wife of former NFL player Christian Ponder. RG3 was recently viewed as a rising star on ESPN. He had 2 years remaining on his deal, and he was hired 3 years ago. He was considered strongly to be ESPN's number 2 college football game analyst. ESPN declined to comment for this particular article. It says RG3 is active on social media, chiming in on an array of issues, including when ESPN has had controversies. He's chimed in about transgender athletes and other politically charged issues, and that's what I'm talking about, man. The guy's kind of a pill. He always, adds on to his tweets like, what would you do? Or what would you think about this? It's like, dude, shut up. You know, I've replied. I've been a hater on his Twitter before. I've replied on his Twitter and been like, go home, RG3. That's all I say to RG3. He never sees it. And if he does, he doesn't respond because, why would he? But, it's like, go home, dude. And now he really is going home. All right, what else do we have? We might be closing out the show here shortly because we're running out of daylight. Yeah, I mean, Will Howard named starting QB at Ohio State. I could have told you that based on my head-to-head matches on NCAA 25. Madden 25 is now out. I'm going home to Phoenix as of the day of this shooting tomorrow. I'm fired up to play some Madden. We'll be chiming in on that as the weeks progress. But I think that's all we got for the week. I think we covered everything we want to cover. Colin Kaepernick still pursuing an NFL career. It's kind of sad. Dude needs to give it up. He fucked himself, and that's that. But we'll leave y'all with that. This is In the Jar, episode 31. I didn't think we were going to get this show off today, but we did. We fight through adversity. We continue on for another week. Let's make it a great week. We appreciate y'all. I appreciate those of you who have stayed with us for this long through each and every episode. Like the video, comment on it, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. I'm obliged to do that, but we appreciate y'all. Let's have a hell of a week. Let's get closer and closer to football season and enjoy. We'll see you.